It's a Conspiracy is a proud member of the Alberta Podcast Network, locally grown and community supported. For other fun programming, please check out albertapodcastnetwork.com, where you can find shows like That's a Thing.
It's a conspiracy!
Hey-yo, there it is. There you go. I mean, feel free. If you got a cough, you got a cough. But we're doing this in tracks, so I'll be able to, or somebody will be able to add.
Yeah, I'll try to. Okay.
If you got to do it, you got to do it, man. It's all good.
Yeah, I'll try to stay away from like back here.
But that'll mess with my sink.
Don't want to mess with your sink.
I want to mess with my sink. It'll get all clogged up. I'll need to call a plumber.
Are we good to go? Are we recording?
We're doing it.
Okay, so this is season 4, episode 11, Mooncross. Welcome back, everyone, to It's a Conspiracy. This is the podcast where we lay out the beliefs behind select conspiracy theories, alternative accounts, legends, myths, and more. I'm your host, Andrew, and I do not claim to be an expert on anything we're going to discuss today, and will probably be wrong about everything as usual because I'm feeling a little ill. I'm in isolation, and that's the funny thing about quarantine. It's just inside jokes. And that reminds me, what's the difference between Romeo and Juliet and the pandemic? One's a coronavirus and the other's a Verona crisis. Yeah.
That's not what I wanted to do.
I didn't quite get that joke the first time I heard it. It sort of flew over my head. There we go. Yes.
That's what I was looking for.
So much laughter aside, if you'd like to see where we got the frosty bits of wonder that we're going to yapper on away about, then please check out the episode description. Lord Charlie lets those fillets marinate in a hibiscus brine and has the perfect Chardonnay pairing. You lucky ducks.
Chardonnay goes with everything.
Yeah, for sure. And you know what, man? If you want to have, white wine with white meats, go ahead and have a white wine with red meats. There's no, the RCMP aren't going to show up and give you a ticket over that, right? You know what
I'm gonna judge you heavily though.
This changes everything.
What do you
look? It's totally okay to do absolutely whatever you want, just as long as you close the curtains and you don't tell anyone about it, and you don't blog about it, and you don't put it on social media. Just do whatever you want, and nobody will know.
Yeah. I'm just saying, I'm not a white wine guy, but I love salmon, and I'm okay if I'm going to have like a nice glass of red wine and I happen to have salmon for supper. I think it's perfectly fine. I know that's a little on the nose, but
I don't know.
Whatever.
Takes
Those
takes
rules.
straight out the gates. Don't worry about opinion time.
Yeah. And what's the pairing for turkey? Have we decided on this?
Tryptophan.
Yeah.
Just
a big glass of tryptophan.
Just a big old glass of tryptophan.
And we are a proud member of the Alberta Podcast Network. Yay team, yay friends, yay squad. You can check us out at itsconspiracypodcast.com. Our Twitter at Is It a Conspiracy? That's run by the social media influencer, the Irish Madman, who is coming to Canada. We've been talking about dates, and it's looking like in April he might be arriving on our sunny shores.
You gonna go share a smoothie or something? Get to go.
I hope so. I hope we get a chance to get together and be friends and embrace him. I mean, I know he's a very lovable guy who just wants hugs and cuddles all the time. Our Facebook group, our Instagram page, It's Conspiracy Podcast. That's run by Greg. Our email and our Patreon page, patreon.com/It's a Conspiracy. Oh, yeah. Back to the Isaac Hayes. Now, righty then, joining the online distance communication time today is Charming Charlie. Sorry, Lord Charming Charlie, or Charming Lord Charlie.
Whatever way is fine.
Okay. Either way is okay. And gorgeous Greg. Now, these fresh boxes of Kleenex are going to interject as they see fit, and I do so appreciate their socially distanced digital company. We're all in this together, and isn't it fun doing it over Zoom so we can't all get sick? Isn't that nice?
I appreciate that. Yep.
Yeah. Now, Charlie, with a sturdy eye, Renee, can you tell me if you've heard of either of these theories?
Either. Let's get it.
Number 1, what is a Stonehenge?
May?
Okay. Number 2, a Charlie Scream Monster of the Week with Charlie Scream.
Oh, hell yeah.
Okay. And number 3, 5 Nintendo conspiracies.
Nay.
Ooh. Okay, here we go. We're going to open a can. So this is subject number 1. What is a Stonehenge?
Stonehenge, where the demons dwell, where the band.
So Stonehenge, fun to say, wonders to behold. So many ancient mysteries swirl about this ancient site, and it's high time that we finally got to speaking about it. We appreciate your patience in this regard and promise to do it justice within the 5 to 7 minutes allotted to speak about it. Okay, now first off, what is a henge? So a henge is something circular or oval with an external bank. So Stonehenge is unique in that it has an internal bank, which some have suggested was for privacy. And this is where the ceremonies took place. And we'll talk about that in a few more minutes here. So it had an internal bank. Second off, who built Stonehenge? So Charlie, if you don't mind firing up the Wayback Machine to some point roughly between 500 BC and 3000 BC. Oh, here we are. Okay, now BC does mean before Charlie, right?
Looks a lot different here.
It does. It sure does. So it's hard to say precisely, as carbon dating wouldn't help tell when the stones that make up Stonehenge, they're old rocks, so it's not going to tell you when they were moved. So it's hard to say exactly when they were all put together. And the Neolithic people of what is now England, their records are spotty, to say the least, at the best of times. So at some point, probably in that 2,000-year window, this whole thing was put together. That sounds extraordinarily vague, but scholars have also suggested that it took over 1,500 years for the project to be completed.
It's a big rock.
And that 1,500 years, that sounds like the Valley Line in Edmonton. Am I right? Hey? Oh, local reference.
You and your inside jokes.
From around 4,000 BC, somewhere around the Stone Age ending and the early Bronze Age firing up, the Neolithic people of the British Isles started up permanent settlements and getting around to fancy business like agriculture and animal husbandry. The nice thing here is that from time to time, they could do something other than forage for food and bury their dead. So they started building giant rocks. This site actually has a few remains of homes and villages nearby, which records have supported it as a site for feasting and celebration. It also suggests that thousands of people from all over the country were involved. This was all happening at a time before the wheel had been invented. So the mystery here is, how in the bloody hell did they get those giant slabs all bloody slapped up bloody together like that without wheels?
How'd they do that?
How'd they do that? So that's the whole mystery. No wheels.
Magic.
No,
Totally. It's really hard to imagine how they did it.
Oh, no.
Map. Okay. Oh, yeah. These bigger stones range from 20 to 30 tons, and it appears that they originated from a quarry that is over 160 miles away from the site. So, how the bloody hell they haul those bloody great big stones all the way from there without any bloody wheels, ropes, pulleys, or anything like that? I bet it was bloody aliens.
Must have been aliens.
That's what some scholars have put forth, the notion that they were like aliens, the giant rocks, aliens. Some scholars have said there could have been a very, very short ice age at the same time that transported the rocks by glacier, which is interesting, right? So that's not the most exciting way to travel at the time, I would imagine, but that's a really cool theory. All right. Third off, what did it do? I'm going to take a quick break to cough for a second. Okay. Third off, what did it do? So there have been a number of theories as to what Stonehenge was built for and why there was so much feasting and celebrating, along with the inevitable human sacrifice that follows such behavior. Some have suggested it is an ancient druidic temple, a pilgrimage destination, a UFO landing pad, and for a long time, this is the official theory, a burial place for royalty or martyrs. One popular theory comes from 12th century author Geoffrey of Monmouth, who claims it was a memorial to the Britons slain by the Saxons. And this is actually the story where the legendary wizard Merlin first appears as he was the one who magically transported the stones from the Giant's Ring, which is a kind of similar stone circle in Ireland. So Merlin shows up. Today, one common theory is that it has astronomical significance. It functions as a way of measuring the lunar cycle, which goes around about every 18 solar years. And 18th century scholars noted that the monument's entrance faces the rising sun on the day of the summer solstice. And interestingly, celebrating summer solstice was illegal there for a long time after an enormous skirmish between a bunch of hippies and the British police. This skirmish, which was called Battle of the Bean Field, resulted in over 24 people hospitalized and about 100 people arrested. So they were celebrating the solstice, and the bobbies got in there.
Getting freaky is what they were doing.
They did. That's right.
Did you
That's
say
what hippies do.
Did you say Battle of the Bean Field?
Battle of the Bean Field. I know.
like it.
I like it too.
I
It's
must have missed that Veggie Tales episode.
Yeah. This
And
is
like
like,
100
a Care Bear episode.
Oh man, but 100 people arrested. That's yeah. Okay, fourth off, these are 3 really neat stones contained within. Most of us think of the big standing rocks when imagining Stonehenge, and many are surprised to learn that there is an altar stone at the focal point of the entire thing. It is lying flat in the middle, and you can't see it unless you are inside the inner sanctum sanctorum.
Ooh.
The altar stone is located in a position so that the setting midwinter sun goes directly between it and a partner stone called the Trilithian. That
Trilithium?
is an amazing name, Trilithian. I should rename both of my children right now Trilithian. That is
What,
incredible.
one dilithian and trilithian.
Dilithian and Trilithian
Sure.
and Unitrithian. Yeah. Unilithian.
Unilithian, yeah.
Another interesting stone. Yes, I'm aware that all stones are interesting, is the heel stone. This one is special. Not that all rocks aren't special, because the sun rises directly above it in midsummer. This single event of the sun rising above the rock in the middle of the summer attracts approximately 35,000 people per year during the summer solstice. So they have started doing this again after the Battle of the Bean Field. A couple years went by, and then the police were like, okay, you hippies can have your celebration again. And now 35,000 people show up to watch the sun go over a rock. I'm sorry if I'm, but that's
You
what
say
it
it
is.
like that.
But you say it like that.
yeah.
When there are so many stones at Stonehenge, and I don't want to bore you with the special qualities of each, but this last one has to be mentioned. The Slaughter Stone. So the Slaughter Stone is a sarsen stone laying flat and covered in bright red markings. This was originally thought to be blood, but it's actually a chemical reaction between the rain and iron in the stone. But that's just as exciting. Like a bunch of chemical reactions is just as exciting as a rock that was used for slaughtering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Now, despite the name, no evidence of human sacrifice has ever been uncovered at Stonehenge. So it's a little misleading.
well,
bit of
they would have cleaned up after themselves.
That, you make a mess like that, something's going to be left over. You can never clean up everything. Fifth off,
Said from experience.
CSI.
that's right. Fifth off, why do we like it so much? There are a bunch of Neolithic circles around England and a number of historic sites around the world, but for some reason, this is the one that so many people are attracted to. So why is that? Here's a couple theories as to why. Number one, the location of Stonehenge is on the Salisbury Plain, which is a beautiful plateau-like area. Now, despite my disappointment, it is not related in any way to the Salisbury steak, particularly the microwave dinner version that we here at Conspiracy Friends are such big fans of. So it has nothing to do with the Salisbury steak.
Best ribs ever.
They really are. Number two, it's super old and has been famous for an extremely long time. So, for example, human remains were discovered in 1864 that dated to 3600 BC, which is potentially before Stonehenge was built. These remains were recently reconstructed in a very lifelike way to portray a man who may have been one of the earliest settlers in the area. So they got the remains, and then they did that creepy thing where they put like organs and skin and hair and like fill in the sockets with eyes. So do you guys want to see what this guy looked like? So we're going to look at somebody
please.
from 3600 BC. Okay.
Before Charlie.
Now, I know who this looks like already, but I'll wait and see if you guys agree with me here. So tell me Who do you guys think this looks like? Okay, so this is the guy that they found the remains of, and they reconstructed him.
Ooh, does that look like? The
Yeah.
dude from Lost?
He does look like the dude from Lost a little bit. Yeah, for sure.
Is Jesus?
It's got a bit of a Jesus vibe going on. I think he looks like a young Chris Christopherson, personally.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
It's kind of got that dirty hairy thing going on with his eyes. Like, I came in for coffee with no sugar, and she gave me sugar. Like, yeah.
So, but he's definitely, he's got like a bit of a man bun thing going on here, and yeah.
He's ordering
Oh
a
man, he looks
latte.
like shirtless rollerblading guy on White Ave.
Oh,
More inside jokes.
there's another inside reference for if you're from Edmonton, you know who that guy is. He does kind of have a hipster thing. He sort of looks like someone who's like, let's talk about some IPAs and why Neutral Milk Hotel are better than Arcade Fire or some crap like that.
People are still having that argument. Oh man,
Forever.
Number 3, the first guidebook on Stonehenge, written in 1823, claimed that Stonehenge had survived Noah's flood, as described in the Old Testament of the Bible. Ooh, exciting. Number 4, this one makes me giddy in my heart. The first scientific excavations were in 1620 under the scholarly eye of King James I. So that's the daughter of Mary, Queen of Scots. That's the translator of the King James Bible. That's the one who wrote the book about demonology and accidentally started off the whole witch hunting craze. Interesting guy. So he was also the first person to have a scientific excavation of the place. Number 5, over the years, thousands of ancient Roman objects have been found there. And it turns out it was an enormous tourist attraction for Romans in the area. And they are probably the ones who dug the giant pits outside of the circles. So there's like 3 circles at Stonehenge. And then there's these huge pits. No one's been able to figure out what it is. But if it was the Romans, it was probably just a giant bathroom or a mass grave for some reason. But
Why not
probably
both?
yeah. Number 6, it is still a very popular cultural location for big events such as festivals. I hope they play rock music. And then movies like Thor, The Dark Thor, and Transformers, The Last Transformers, and This Is Spinal Tap, which is amazing. Actually, Stonehenge features heavily in This Is Spinal Tap, now that I think of it.
Absolutely. Where the demons dwell.
In 2016, a group of 200 rainbows, brownies, and girl guides gathered together to sing Happy Birthday to Queen Liz, who turned 90 that year and still looks like she could throat punch a man to death. Just yeah. So that is what is a Stonehenge?
Hold on, though. Did you do 2 numerical lists? I feel like
we
you
haven't
got
got
to
the
like
second one yet.
No, I feel
Yeah.
like you
That was a
got
double whammy list. Yeah.
your counting was weird. You started off at the beginning again at some point. What was number 1 again?
Oh yeah, so I said 5. So it was like 5th. Why do we like it so much? And then there was 5 reasons why we like it so much.
Oh, okay. I was just like, oh boy, someone's on the cold
What's
meds.
happening,
He's
man?
counting more. His number system's out the window.
Well, that is true. That's
At least we're still not using that scale he tried to rope us into in the first season.
Oh no! Don't even bring that up.
That was amazing. I forgot all about that. Oh man. So yeah, what are we Greg,
What are we drinking?
I've got some Maxwell House's finest mixed with a little bit of Bailey's and my fancy It's a Conspiracy coffee mug that you can find on oldmandesign.com.
We'll get you sorted.
I've been drinking Bailey's and coffee pretty much every day I've had off because my mom bought me a giant bottle of Bailey's. So
Nice. If you
Nice.
got time off, then that's all good.
just one day.
Enjoy
I'll enjoy
yourself.
aside from a lovely 2006 vintage NyQuil I've been enjoying.
You went down to the cellar then.
I did try before I started feeling ill. I tried a beer from Campio Brewing here in Edmonton, and this
Wow.
beer was a spicy meatball. So let me just schmoop. So it was. Have you tried these guys before, Charlie?
The name's familiar, but not this one.
So it's from Campio Brewing. Really, really cool and really classy, like tap room. And the food was really good. Really, really nice place. And I don't know if they have a picture of the beer here. I guess they don't. But they have some like really funny like Dino Sour Daiquiri and like Big Trouble in Little China. So really cool.
What was the one that you were drinking? What was the
one that I had was called the Monk's Elixir. So the description was a Belgian double with true to style notes of pepper and clove, complementing a cracker and bread-like sweetness from a wide array of specialty malts. Post-fermentation additions of turmeric, cardamom, black pepper, and ginger add a spicy little za to this complex and aromatic serving of liquid bread. First of all, it was 6.9%. And I was like, there's a strong beer, but also it reminded me of that, that porno beer we had the one time that was 6.9%. It was like nothing.
The Blue Review.
Yeah, the Blue Review. Yeah. So it was a very strong beer, but this beer actually kind of had a curry taste, like a straight up kind of like masala taste to it, which I would probably assume comes from like the turmeric, cardamom, black pepper, ginger. It did have 100%. Kind of a note of which I've never had like a curry-ish beer before. Yeah. But it was good. It was really, really good and thick, like a nice big sweater. Yeah.
What about you, Charles? What are you drinking today?
Well, I've been drinking. I've got a nice bottle here.
Look at that.
Buffalo Trace, Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey.
Yum.
Let me tell you about
Fancy.
It is delightful. Ancient buffalo carved paths through the wilderness that led American pioneers and explorers to new frontiers. One such trail led to the banks of the Kentucky River, where Buffalo Trace Distillery has been making bourbon whiskey the same way for more than 200 years. In tribute to the mighty buffalo and the rugged, independent spirit of the pioneers who followed them, we created our signature Buffalo Trace Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. And I love it. It is so smooth.
Oh, yeah.
Man, that does sound nice.
I'd share it with you if we were all in person.
Yeah.
No, you
just
wouldn't.
pass the bottle back and forth, but you wouldn't. I'd have to wrestle it out of your cold, dead hands.
No, you're right. I can make these bold, bold statements while we are so far apart.
Yeah. I might share it is what. Yeah. Well, that's going to take us to advertisement number 1.
Hello, I'm Elizabeth Bonkink.
I'm Andrew Paul.
And we're the hosts of the Well Endowed Podcast.
The Well Endowed Podcast is produced by Edmonton Community Foundation, or ECF as we call it.
ECF provides grants to charities through the endowment funds we create and manage with our donors.
Hence the title of our show, The Well Endowed Podcast.
Every month, we bring you a collection of stories and interviews with fascinating guests who are working to make Edmonton a strong, vibrant city to live in.
Through these stories, we look at the space where endowments intersect with your communities.
So if you're interested in the people and issues impacting your community, check out thewellendowedpodcast.com.
Okay, and we are back with a subject number 2. This is a Charlie Scream Monster of the Week with Charlie Scream.
Welcome back to Charlie Scream's Monster of the Week, where I pick a different monster, either mythical, supernatural, or paranormal, and I give you the classic X-Files solo episode attention and respect that it deserves. Got it? Good. Well, get yourself some snacks and buckle in, buddies, because today we're going on a road trip. Now, Andrew, Greg, do you believe in ghosts?
Sure.
Do you believe that spirits can haunt people?
I plead the 5th.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen a ghost?
I don't know. I think maybe I did see a ghost once, but I'm not sure.
Well, today we're headed back to one of our favorite paranormal places, Maryland, for just such a spirit.
Oh, yeah.
But with a really interesting twist. And I will say that I wrote that joke before before I knew that you were talking about that.
About wheels.
About wheels. Where we're going, we do need roads, because today we're talking about the demon truck of Seven Hills Road.
Oh, man.
Yep.
Maryland is just packed full, and once we're able to do so, we gotta go. We gotta get there. We gotta check it out. What is going on over there?
To Maryland.
Maryland, not Maryland, as you would say. Today we're going to just outside of Ellicott City. Ellicott City is a charming historic community located just west of the city of Baltimore, also known as one of the most haunted cities in America. Just behind Ellicott City sits Seven Hills that have a 2-lane road running right through them. Legend goes that those brave enough to drive this road at night, if they just so happen to hit the 7th hill at the stroke of midnight, keep your high beams on, you'll see the demon truck of Seven Hills Road. Legitimately named College Avenue, but known as Seven Hills Road because, well, because of the Seven Hills, obviously. It's been responsible for taking the lives of dozens of drivers in the last decade and injuring hundreds more. These hills are ripe for joyriding or hill hopping. It's scary as hell, but that's why it's fun, says one teen. I don't even think I've ever done something so dangerous in my life. But if that's not bad enough, it's time to add in our demon truck. The apparition is said to be a jet black vehicle driven by a faceless entity. People who have had run-ins with the demon truck say that it appears out of thin air, barreling down the road at 100 miles an hour, hell-bent on causing your vehicle to crash. The stories all generally go something like this. When I was 16 years old, my brother and I and some of our friends were out for one of our joyrides and just happened to come across Seven Hills by accident. It was well after midnight, and me, being the level-headed one, I wanted to go home, but my brother, being the daredevil, he wanted to test the legend. It seemed like we were the only ones on the road. It was pitch black and dead silent, when out of nowhere, headlights were right on top of us. It freaked us out, and we thought the vehicle was going to ram into our car, but it didn't. We sped up and pulled off the road, but when we calmed down enough to get back on the road, the car was gone. It was nowhere, and the road stretched for miles. It's like the demon truck appeared out of nowhere. I never forgot that experience, and to this day will never drive the Seven Hills at night. So that's one account. Here's another one. On October 11th, 2011, a family of 4 went searching for said spirit. They were spirit searchers. And what started as an uneventful evening turned terrifying. We raced down the street a little after midnight just to enjoy the butterfly feelings we got in our stomachs when this dark-colored truck appeared almost out of nowhere. We had panicked and drove even faster, hitting about 98 miles an hour, hoping that the truck would slow down or back off. If only that had happened, the truck sped right up on our tail and we expected to get rear-ended. It was just our luck when we reached the end of the road and the truck just disappeared. Now, over the year, these crashes have forced the city to repave, install guardrails, and even lower speed limits. But the only thing that could slow down these sightings was the building of luxury homes on the hill, changing the look and the feel of the area altogether. Now, these stories seem to peak in the mid-90s, and while it's true that fewer and fewer people have reported the demon truck in recent years, new reports have started coming to light of a strange cloaked woman that stands in the middle of the road. But by the time the driver spots the figure, it's too late, and they're either forced to swerve off the road or hit the figure. Which, if they do hit her, she just vanishes. Last year, me and 2 friends went out looking for the ghost car, and while we didn't see any black trucks, we did see a strange woman walking down the center of the road. She was wearing a black cloak with a hood. Soon as we saw her, we slammed on the brakes, but she didn't pay any attention to us. When we passed her, she looked up and into the car, and we could see that she didn't have any pupils. Freaked us the fuck out, and we hit the gas. but when we looked back, she was gone. We all saw her, so I know she was there. So the demon truck has turned into the demon lady. I guess you could say she got tired of driving.
Oh no.
But that isn't the only time that this apparition has morphed. Way back in the 60s, there were reports of the same nature, but instead of a demon truck, the sightings were of a demon goat. So whatever the decade, I guess the moral is, buckle up and stay off of Seven Hills Road at midnight. Back to you, Andy.
That is amazing. A demon goat.
It goes from a demon goat to a demon truck, and now it's a demon lady. So it's kind of settled down a little bit, but, same road.
Just a haunted stretch is what they're saying.
I feel like you just told that story so you can make that tired joke.
I mean, isn't that how we get all of our best segments?
It is true.
It's usually built around a good joke. You're like, how do I make a story out of this joke? Well, that's going to take us to subject 3, 5 Nintendo conspiracies. Okay, number 1, Pokemon Go. Have you guys played Pokemon Go before?
I am familiar, yes, a little bit.
Okay, I had no idea the can that I was opening with Pokemon Go. Like this, it's crazy. Anyways, this is one of many Pokemon Go theories. Okay, this is probably the most loaded theory in here and definitely deserves to be revisited at some point in the future. Anyways, it turns out that there are a number of people who believe that the game was actually developed by Nintendo and Niantic to identify secret locations of Chinese military bases and human testing facilities. So supporters claim that extremely valuable Pokemon are put in certain locations, and if they are left unclaimed, then it speaks to it being a potential restricted zone. So obviously people couldn't go there to get the Pokemon because it's like...
You're not allowed in here.
You're not allowed in here. And one of the reasons that they may have done that is because China has refused to cooperate with the satellite, like Google Map program. So Google has like basically surveyed the entire Earth, but not China. And so, but Pokemon Go is in China. So they're like, that's their way of getting in there and still getting a layout of the land. One popular tweet at the time read, "Then the war breaks out. Japan and the US can easily target their guided missiles, and China will have been destroyed by the invasion of a Japanese-American game." So Pokemon Go was actually a very elaborate ruse to create an accurate cartographical
map.
Topographical.
We call them maps.
Maps.
Yeah.
We just say map here.
Yeah.
Map. Number 2. Have you guys played Legend of Zelda?
Heck yes. Wait, which one?
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think we're going the OG. This
Classic.
is like
Nintendo.
33 years before Greg was born, the original Nintendo one. So Legend of Zelda's swastika maps.
Ooh.
So in the original Legend of Zelda, where you play as the character Zelda and go on adventures. Oh, that's
so
good
funny
joke.
to you.
So
But
in
you
the
don't play
game,
as Zelda.
I know that's.
I don't get it.
There are.
I'm just kidding.
No,
I'm kidding.
yeah, totally. So in the game, there are 3 maps. There's an eagle, a snake, and oddly a swastika. So supporters of this theory claim it's no accident that Germany's old wartime pal Japan included this in their game. This, of course, is despite Japan being a Buddhist country and the symbol predating the context of World War II by hundreds and hundreds of years. They don't call it a swastika in the game. Like they're not like, here's the swastika map.
Sure.
But they're
like, no, now you're the next level is swastika land.
Yeah. So this is, I remember seeing this as a kid and being like, Dad.
Something's wrong here.
That's like backwards to like the Nazi swastika. Isn't it?
Well, the Nazis like did the tilt.
Oh, okay.
So, but if for example, if you go to a city like Kyoto in Japan, and you look at a map of like interesting tourist places to visit, there's swastikas everywhere because it's like a symbol of like where a certain shrine is. So that it can be a little jarring. You're like, why are there swastikas everywhere?
Isn't it also a symbol of peace?
It's a symbol of peace. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was a symbol that predated.
Yeah. They didn't invent the damn thing.
They didn't invent it. They turned it on its side and they're associated with it. But it is still strange that Legend of Zelda, where Zelda goes on his adventures, you have a swastika map. That is a little odd.
Yeah.
Okay. Speaking of odd, number 3, Luigi's Dead. Have you guys ever played Luigi's Mansion?
I've heard of it, but I've not played it.
Yeah, I've never played.
Okay, 2001, there's a game called Luigi's Mansion. It was released and surprised a lot of fans by offering not only a solo outing for the character normally associated with his brother Mario, but a very uniquely dark atmosphere in comparison to the other Mario Universe games. At one point in the game, a frightened Luigi answers the phone in his attic. Just as this happens, we, the players, see a swinging shadow on the wall. There's like a lightning burst, and we see a shadow swinging on the wall that looks like the silhouette of someone who has hung themselves.
No!
So the sort of the suggestion here is that Luigi has like hung himself, and this is all like a very like elaborate kind of like last night of suicidal paranoia.
My goodness.
Yeah.
Hey.
So cheery stuff. Okay, number 4.
That's it. There's no resolve. There's just like, no, he's dead. That's happened.
No, that's it. Yeah, just maybe Luigi's actually dead. And since 2001, it's been somebody else. Maybe he was replaced.
Oh, a Luigi clone.
Number 4, the mysterious death of Satoru Iwata. Former Nintendo president Satoru Iwata died in 2015 after complications with a brain tumor, which is it possible to have anything but complications with a brain tumor? Like, so Iwata was a very controversial figure in the company's history as he had held onto a majority of power as the company went through some rough patches. He refused to resign right up until his death, and he was the target of a number of death threats from fans, rivals, and employees alike. When he died, a number of people suggested that he had actually been eliminated by none other than the Freemasons, who control Nintendo as part of their agenda of mind-controlling society. So the Freemasons finally killed him off with a brain tumor. Ooh, yeah, that is scary. He was one of the guys behind. Do you guys? This is actually predating Greg a little bit. Do you remember the Nintendo's virtual reality helmet in the 90s?
The Virtual Boy?
The Virtual Boy. That's right. So
Remember the Power Glove?
yeah, this is post Power Glove. But Satoru Iwata was, I think, in charge of the Virtual Boy, which is a total tank for
It did not go well.
Okay, now number 5. I've been waiting to do this one for some time. Okay, so number 5, the Mario universe is just a big act. Okay, it's not real. If Super Mario Bros. 2 taught us anything, it's that giving different characters different powers is the key to the good times. So it also teaches you that Mario is rarely, if ever, the best choice in any of his games.
In any Mario game.
Yeah, he's not. Yeah, right. Anyways, so this whole thing of choosing a different character also suggests that the Mario universe is a movie within the Mario universe. Okay, so this is further evidenced by the fact that Super Mario Bros. 2 is set up as a stage play. And creator Shigeru Miyamoto has confirmed that the characters are aware of their part in this. So the games are either movies or plays. And what really sells this theory is the fact that outside of the Super Mario games, you see the cast getting together to, like, you know, they go to play tennis, they race around in go-karts, they go golfing, etc. So they spend time together having fun. So it's highly unlikely that Mario would lower himself to like shooting hoops with his bitter nemesis Bowser, or like, you know, going golfing with Wario, right? Mm-hmm. Like if they were actually enemies, they wouldn't have anything to do with each other.
Right.
So they're in friends in IRL.
So
they're
so
friends.
they're like Wreck-It Ralph.
Or like Reboot.
I'm not sure you guys gonna have to clarify what you mean for me by that. I'm not sure.
Well, I'm trying to remember now. Was it Mario 2 or Mario 3 that start off with a big curtain being drawn back?
That was Mario 2.
That was Mario 2. I mean,
that was the movie, right?
Where that shows you, hey, we're at the show. Time for a really big show.
A really big show.
Really big show.
Yeah, and then when they're done making the movie, they're like, let's go ride some go-karts together because we're the best friends.
We're the best of friends. They even do one with Bowser.
I still don't get it, but I'll pretend.
So the games themselves, so the characters are real, but the games that they are in, like Super Mario Land or Super Mario Galaxy or whatever, those are movies that they make within their universe.
Sure.
And when they're not making those movies, they're actually friends. So Mario and Wario, Mario and Bowser are friends, and that's why they go like golfing together.
They're at least associates.
They're acquaintances.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Is that making sense?
Maybe they're not best of friends, but like, you know.
It's a very strange theory. Okay. Anyways, that's going to take us to ad number 2.
Get ready to take the guesswork out of choosing a school. Go to an Edmonton Public Schools virtual open house. Ask your questions to learn about their schools and programs, and find the one that feels right. All from the comfort of home. Find virtual event dates and learn how to make the most out of your online visit at openhouse.epsb.ca. Know before you go and feel confident and excited when you get there.
Opinion time, opinion time. Hey everybody, it's opinion time.
I kind of get it, but at the same time, I'm like, man, like whoever thought about this, had obviously smoked way too much weed and didn't articulate what they were thinking properly.
Video games. Of course they were smoking weed.
And B, I obviously didn't smoke enough to understand what they're trying to relay to me. So
just not on the same level.
Yeah.
Yeah. With this in mind, then, G Money, do you want to tell us what our first theory was?
What is a henge and what do you do with stones?
Nice. Okay, cool. Our second theory was the demon truck, the demon lady, and the demon goat.
It's a 3-for-1.
A 3-for-1. Okay, and then Lord Charlie, what was our third theory?
Oh, was Mario actually the Matrix?
So,
Oh yeah, okay, that's a great way of putting it. Never mind then.
You can
Yeah.
pick the
Comes
characters
together.
just like picking Neo or Trinity or whatever, and then boom, you're in the simulation.
so I guess does any of the Nintendo stuff kind of stick out to you guys? Like we sort of talked about the Pokemon Go one, for example. Do you guys think that Pokemon Go is actually an elaborate mapping conspiracy?
It's a clever way to do that if it was.
It's a very clever way to do it.
I can't get that Mewtwo because that Mewtwo is in a bunker.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I will tell you that Mario 2 was my favorite of the Mario games. I love that
Mario
one.
2 is amazing. And is Mario the best at playing that game?
Never.
Exactly, right? Like it's
If you
weird.
have
I was
a
always
choice,
a
pick someone
Luigi. Yeah, I like Luigi and Princess in that game personally. That's right. I like the princess. Whatever. I don't have to make fun of me about that. That's fine. She can fly.
You, man.
Hey, listen. But yeah, and the Legend of Zelda swastika stuff.
I mean, if you look at the grid that they had to play with, it's not very diverse. So I see why it's a thing and why it's not necessarily, I think it just happened because you only have so many spots on that grid to lay out a dungeon. So I
also
don't know
think-
that it's a crazy thing.
I think it's a more thing that for people to recognize in Western culture because we see it instantly as like a Nazi thing instead of like a religious thing or
That's right.
a
Totally.
peaceful thing. You know,
Yeah, our connotation with it is totally different.
No.
And you guys didn't play the Luigi's Dead in his mansion.
I've heard about
well,
it,
that sounds
Nightmare game.
horrible.
but I've
Yeah.
not played it.
It's a fun game, but it's only Luigi, which is the interesting part. So it actually was kind of, I remember it coming out. I don't remember that part of the game, but I remember enjoying it.
Mhm.
And he's just running around in a haunted mansion the whole time. So it's kind of cool.
Once you explained it, I feel like I've seen that intro before.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's it's in the back of my brain. I can kind of pull it up.
And you guys have any thoughts on the Freemasons running Nintendo?
Why not?
Yeah, they run their world, don't they?
Yeah.
I don't know.
You guys have played Assassin's Creed, right? Come on now.
I mean, it's funny that like Nintendo are like an actual world power. Like they're like a huge, like multi-trillion-dollar company. And it's funny to think that anyone could be over top of them, like pulling the strings. Never mind like the Freemasons of all people. Like that could have been anybody. The Illuminati control Nintendo or the Anunnaki or whatever. Like it's, yeah.
I mean, I don't know if the Anunnaki controlled Nintendo. I don't think you'd be fighting so many Koopas in Mario.
That's a good point. They want to have better reptile presentation.
Better reptile representation.
Yeah. And Greg, is this Mario theory still just kind of bobbling around in your scooper doodle? Or is it making sense?
No.
to you?
I totally get it, but it's just way too deep. It's just way too meta.
It's
Too
such
deep
a
for this
dumb
time of the
theory.
morning.
Because really what you're saying is just like, well, with their spare time to go golfing in a game that I'm still fucking playing. They don't just go off and play golf in the middle of the week. Hey, call each other up. Hey, Bob, what you doing, bud?
Hey,
No,
what are you
that's
gonna do
me
after
pressing
this?
play and moving around with a joystick.
That is the theory, though. Basically,
Ugh.
you just summed it up in a theory.
I know.
Drive go-karts.
Pete, baby, we're meeting up. Let's go.
I really do love this this demon truck thing. I think it's great. I love the idea of like a ghost woman in a cloak and a ghost goat is kind of cool, but like a scary demon truck, that is awesome. Like somebody standing there and the truck like goes through them and they're just like, oh, like
They're trying to run you off the road. Then they've
Yeah.
got a lot of people, man.
that sounds so dark and scary and awesome. So I am down with that. And we should go to Maryland.
I'm gonna keep digging because there's
Maryland.
more. We've hit like 3 or 4 of them now, but there's more.
That's where they all are. They should change their name to
Monsterland.
Monsterland instead of thank you. It's hard to get tourists, so we
A
became
little too
Maryland.
on the nose, yeah.
And then I guess with Stonehenge, what do you guys think about Stonehenge there?
It exists.
I'll let Charlie start on.
Yeah, no, it's I think it's great. I think it exists. It was done by aliens, and it's got all the crazy properties and stuff, and yeah, all that kind of stuff. I'm all in.
So you think it was built with alien assistance?
Well, how the hell else are you gonna get those giant stones up there?
Yeah. This is always where I'm like, Just because we can't figure it out doesn't mean it was aliens.
No possible way. It can only be aliens.
It's the simplest answer.
It's an incredible, the lasting legacy of it is interesting. Like people have been obsessed with it for a long time. It looks really cool. The fascination with it is there has to be something happening that people are just kind of drawn to with the place, like why it's remained so famous. And it's cool. I didn't mention either that there's something called ley lines or lee lines. I'm not sure how you pronounce it. And they're like these magnetic streams through the earth, and Stonehenge is like the center of a bunch of them. So that's kind of cool. How would Neolithic people been able to figure that out?
Like all the surrounding cows in pastures and stuff all point towards it.
Well, there could have been things happening where they were like, this is just a special place, we're just going to do some weird stuff, and then some mega genius was like, I have a cool idea for how to do this.
Some real big stoner.
Some big stoner. That's not bad.
But yeah, Greg, do you have any thoughts on Stonehenge?
I remember watching a bunch of Discovery TV shows where it's like, if you look at this stone through the other stone on this date at 2:00 in the afternoon, 3 minutes past 12, you get to see some star. That's cool. It's more of a coincidence, in my opinion, mainly because like that thing was built so many thousand years ago that they say like the sky, I'm sure, looks the same, but is in a very different position than it is now. So
yeah,
that's my issue when people start saying like it lines up with this and it lines up with that. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
If I turn stuff enough, I can get shit to line up too.
Yeah, I guess the thing was it was the midwinter sun, like the winter solstice. There's a rock that it like goes right over, and then in the summer solstice, there's a rock that it goes right over. So it does seem to be quite accurate there. But yeah, you're right, because like say 100,000 years from now, somebody comes across the ruins of Edmonton, and they're like, oh, the ancient Edmontonians,
the Mutard Conservatory pointing to the Northern Star.
Yeah, totally.
Not really, you know.
Yeah, the Mutard. They find that, for example, and they're like, they must have worshipped the sun because, like, at some point during the year, it points at this sun, and it's like,
Little did they know we worship the oil that we are sinking.
Yeah. So
I don't know. It's cool stuff, and I think it's funny that everybody in England is just like, "What's the pile of rocks doing in the middle of the road? Like, get it out of here!
Get it out of my way!"
Like it's only really cool to like tourists and people who've never, like, it's just not in their country.
That might be, again, like a thing that like, for example, the Irish Madman and I, we were in Dublin, and he's like, I've never been to the Guinness Brewery. This is for like idiot tourists. I don't really want to go. And I was like, that'll be fun. It'll be so much fun. And we went, and we had a great time, but he was right. There was like nobody from Dublin was actually in there. They were like, we're glad that this place makes money and has jobs and everything like that. But they were like, you know, for example, or here in Edmonton, again, we were talking about West Edmonton Mall and how like everybody who lives in Edmonton is like, I hate that mall. I don't want to go anywhere near it, but it's a massive tourist attraction. So Stonehenge, West Edmonton Mall, equally mysterious.
Basically the same thing. Both
hold mysteries that we will never understand.
Well, I guess, okay, then, Konami champions, we sure do appreciate you swinging by. And we do indeed hope that you will be back with us for episode 12 very soon. In the meantime, if you're needing some Salisbury sauce on your dungeon boss, then slip into our past casts and social medias at itsaconspiracypodcast.com. And thanks for stopping by. We'll see you soon. Take care.
Bye.
See you never.
Here we go. Bingo.